The Cabinet is meeting later this morning, and it could be quite an occasion following reports of widespread unhappiness with the Prime Minister's decision to delay the next meaningful vote on Brexit. Meanwhile, the Labour leader, Jeremy Corbyn, has said he is prepared to back a second EU referendum if it means preventing a damaging Tory Brexit. Well, who to speak to about this? The shadow Brexit Secretary, Sir Keir Starmer, joins us now from Westminster. Sir Keir, very good morning to you. It does strike me that this second referendum, at least being an option more than simply being on the table, this has been something you've been pushing for quite some time. Do you think it's a vindication of the stance that you've taken on this?
It's a reflection, I think, of the motion that we passed at our conference back in September, because what we were trying to do then was to anticipate the decisions we'd have to make and agree what we would do in each scenario. And that's why we set out the conditions that we would need to support a deal, that we would call for a general election if the deal didn't get through, but that if that didn't happen, the option of a public vote ought to be available. And so we're implementing, if you like, the third phase of this. We do it because the Prime Minister has doggedly stuck to her red lines, notwithstanding all their problems, and is, I think, really running down the clock. I don't think anybody thinks she's going to get any changes to her deal. She's going to put basically the same proposition to Parliament, up against no deal. She's going to do that on the 12th of March with just 17 days to go. We, the Labour Party, have said repeatedly that we don't accept her red lines or no deal. So this reflects, I think, where we've got to. We will this week put down our alternative plan, which is for a customs union and single market alignment. That's what we set out in the letter to the Prime Minister 3 weeks ago. She's shown no inclination to engage with that. If that doesn't get through, then we will either ourselves put down an amendment or support an amendment in favour of a public vote to prevent a Brexit on the Prime Minister's red lines, or worse, no deal.
And what would be the options on that ballot paper being put to the public in the event of your deal being rejected by the Commons?
The basic choice needs to be between a credible leave option and remain. And so that means that if the Prime Minister gets a deal through, that should be subject to the lock, if you like, of a public vote.
So no deal would not be an option on that particular ballot paper?
No, it wouldn't. And we've said for a long time that no deal would be disastrous for the country. Pretty well every business says that, and I've talked to businesses in England, Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. The Prime Minister is, I think, today or tomorrow going to publish her impact assessment of no deal, and I expect that will show just how bad it would be. And I think that we've got a responsibility to protect our country from that outcome. And whatever people say now, and I do realise there are strong views on this, nobody is going to come to us and thank us in months or years to come when their job, their business and their community is suffering as a result of our failure to protect the country against no deal.
In what way, though, is this not the Labour Party's Nick Clegg tuition fees moment? The 2017 manifesto was pretty clear on this. There are MPs within the party, like John Mann, who've chosen not to leave but stay and fight with you, who suggest this is a betrayal. That another vote, certainly in the terms that you describe, where the Labour Party, one imagines, would be campaigning to remain within the European Union. Why is that not a betrayal of the 17.4 million votes?
Well, it's very important to appreciate precisely what commitments we made in that manifesto. You are absolutely right to say there was a commitment to respect the outcome of the referendum, and that is why we triggered Article 50. That was
How can you campaign to remain and respect the result of the referendum?
Just please, you've asked me a question, let me at least answer it, then you can quiz me as much as you like on it. But we made a commitment to respect the outcome of the referendum. We triggered Article 50, which was not easy for the Labour Party on that basis, but we also made a commitment that we would not accept the Prime Minister's red lines or a deal along those lines, and that we would do all that we could to prevent no deal. Now, we've got to the stage where we're presented with the Prime Minister's red lines or no deal. Our manifesto said that we should take all necessary steps to prevent that. So we have to face the situation we're actually in now at the end of the 2-year window on Article 50, not the beginning of the window on Article 50, and we need to look at all of the commitments we made in our manifesto.
Okay, I do understand the logic of the case that you're making there, the position that you point out. At the same time, surely you must also understand the logic of those who voted to leave the European Union, that it is not the Labour Party respecting the result of the referendum if they then campaign in a second one to remain within the EU.
But that leaves out of account that for 2 years we have been spelling out what a Brexit deal to leave should look like, spelling it out and challenging the Prime Minister uphill and down dale that we should have a customs union and single market alignment. We did that on the basis of what businesses are telling us we need. We also did it on the basis of believing genuinely, and I do, that it's the only credible way of protecting the border situation in Northern Ireland. The Prime Minister's rejected that. She's not engaged in that. She's now pushed it up to the 11th hour, saying it's my red lines unchanged or no deal. Now, in that situation, we will push our Brexit deal again. We'll push that on Wednesday. We do think that's credible. We do think it's capable of being negotiated. But if the Prime Minister won't engage with it, if she tries to vote it down, we are left then in the final days with this choice between her deal on her old red lines or no deal. And the Labour Party is committed to preventing that happening. So this has to be seen in its proper context.